So the question is, when you look at this picture, is where do 227 million people go in less than 5 years? Because this was put out in 2020 or 2020-ish. But back in 2017, when this was first done by Deagle.com, of course, you can't find this anymore. But this is what they reported then. They predicted that by the year 2025, the United States population will be down to 100 million from a total of 327 million in 2017. So where'd they all go? Well, we're going to cover that today. We're definitely going to cover that today because this is going to happen. And probably before 2025, or at least, it's already begun. So let's take a look at it all, shall we? Yes, let's. All right, here we go. All right, before we get going in earnest here, some of you have asked us, Johnny, how do I gift you this hosting for your website for the year? Well, if you look at the top of don'tspeaknews.com, you'll see right here, enjoy this site, ? Give the author a WordPress.com plan, and then you punch gift right here with your mouse. And once you click that, it'll bring you to a checkout page where you can check the boxes you like. I've already renewed the domain for a year, so don'tspeaknews.com will still be here. But if you want to renew the hosting, which has a lot of plugins for the website, so the website will be a mess without the hosting, then all you have to do is click gift, and then the pop-up box will come up, and it's $300 plus tax for the year. And so figure about $330 because it's about 10% here in Washington and Spokane. So if you'd like to do that, that's how you do it. So thank you very much for that. And now moving on to the news. Okay, as we said, there's going to be a huge population reduction just here in the US alone by 220 some million. Okay, how are they going to do that? Well, I was looking at this video this morning. Globalists planning for major loss of world population. Gee, it goes right along with what I just showed you, right? This is Mike from around the world again. And so in this particular segment, I took some notes so we don't have to go through it all, the video itself. But he's talking about extreme heat and cold being present in this entire year, and we're seeing that we're seeing that around the world now, as Europe was freezing here this last week after being so hot the week before. And we're going to have straight line winds, monumental winds that are 300 miles per hour, along with a lot of tornadoes. And of course, we've already had Hurricane Beryl come through and completely devastate Houston. You talked about that in here. Still 1 million people without power, without water, without proper sanitation, mold forming in their homes now. I mean, they don't have any solutions. They're waiting for the government to come help. And of course, that's one of the worst things we can do, right? So, and imagine just, that place is just so hot, so humid all the time. And of course, now Hurricane Beryl made its way all the way up to Indiana and caused a bunch of flooding up there too. But one of the other things he talks about and highlights are the ice sheets that are breaking off. And some are going to be the size of Nebraska, the state of Nebraska. And what's causing this is melting, not just from up top and the sun, the UV rays coming through, because our protective sphere is because of the pole shifting, it's been damaged. So we have all these UV rays coming through we're not protected from anymore. But it's also coming up from the bottom, from all the magma heating up the earth. And this is one of the reasons you see all of these orcas and dolphins beaching themselves and screaming in pain because it's too hot and because the gases are choking them out. And so you also have these sheets, if they drop 100 feet and they break off and drop into the water, you could have a tsunami in a few seconds. And it would be a no warning tsunami, like a rogue wave. The buoys won't be enough. By the time it hits the buoys, it's going to be too late. And it's not going to be an earthquake that precedes it. It's just going to be these ice sheets breaking out from all the heat. So like it says here in my notes, if it drops 100 feet in a few seconds, boom, tsunami. A silent one that's just going to come. And by the time the buoys go off, like I said, it's going to be too late. Think of it, like he said in the video here, think of it as a rogue wave type tsunami, and the buoys won't be enough. Then he also talks about the wars that are coming, as we talked about here the other day in this video. Large earthquake strike Cascadia, War is rumors of war. The end of the age is at hand, and it is. Hardly anybody sees it, unfortunately, but it is. And we're getting ready for some major population loss because of all these natural disasters and the wars. The wars that are coming. And one of the things I also have in my notes here that the Lord wanted me to relay to you, if you want to look at what's the future of America and what's coming to America, look up Jeremiah 51, Revelation 18, and Zechariah 14. I'll put those in the blog posting as well, so you can look them up. But that's the future for America. That's what's coming. Armageddon. And there's going to be a nuclear one for America. And for the world, too. There's going to be a lot of nuclear exchanging going on. And we're going to get to that now as we cover the wars, rumors of war section. So here we go. The United States is going to install SM6, Tomahawk, and other hypersonic weapons with a range of 2,500 kilometers inside of Germany. And Russia, for their part, is saying, look, this is a serious threat, and we're going to respond without emotion. We're just going to respond the way we need to respond. So here we go. The U.S. will begin deploying long-range strike missiles such as the SM6 and Tomahawk in Germany, and further evidence that the security architecture has collapsed, and Europe is preparing intensively for war with Russia. At the same time, NATO has also announced yesterday that a new U.S. anti-aircraft base in northern Poland, designed to detect and intercept ballistic missile attacks as part of a wider NATO missile shield, is on standby. The problem with these systems, guys, is that they can be converted to offensive weapons just like that. They just got to swap out the missiles. U.S. installs SM6, Tomahawk, and other hypersonic weapons in Europe. And the thing about that is, Russia's not going to know what kind of warheads are in those particular systems, so they're going to have to take them out. There's just no choice. They don't have a choice at this point. So you see how close we are? We're right on the precipice of war. And I'm not trying to fearmonger here because I don't have fear. Okay, God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm just telling you how close we are. That's my job. Now, the U.S. installs SM6, Tomahawk, and other hypersonic weapons in Europe. So they're preparing for long-term parking of missiles in Europe, such as the SM6, Tomahawk, and other hypersonic weapons under development. The new cruise missiles will have a range of 2,500 kilometers. Missiles with ranges of more than 500 kilometers were banned until the 2019, under the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, or INF Treaty, signed by the Soviet Union's Gorbachev and former President Reagan in 1987. Now, according to the signatories, Germany, Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic destroyed their missiles in the 90s, to be followed later by Slovakia and Bulgaria. Now, the U.S. withdrew from the treaty in 2019, saying Moscow was violating the agreement, citing Russia's development of this 9M729 cruise missile. So in late June, Russian President Putin said Moscow should resume production of medium and shorter range missiles after the U.S. brought similar missiles to Denmark for exercises and to the Philippines. So what does this NATO communique say? The U.S. is to install new conventional and cruise missiles in Germany to fill the gap in Russia's deterrence capabilities, according to the two NATO allies. The American and German sides, with a joint announcement from the sidelines of the NATO summit in Washington, clarify that initially it will be a temporary installation, but the goal is for the missiles to be permanently installed in Germany in the future. As noted in the announcement, in the future, ultrasonic weapons, which are currently in development, will be transferred to Germany. So, yeah. And of course, the Russians, for their part, are really not liking any of this. Now, Russia said that it's a serious threat and they're going to respond. They will respond to a planned U.S. development of long-range missiles in Germany, as it views NATO's military actions as a serious threat to Russia's national security. Of course it is. Asked at a briefing with Russian news agencies about the outcome of the NATO summit, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said this: the North Atlantic Alliance clearly confirmed its essence once again. It is an alliance created in a time of confrontation with the aim of maintaining the confrontation. Tensions on the European continent are escalating. As a result, he added, saying the Kremlin is watching NATO military infrastructure move even closer. We see the decisions that NATO has made to create separate logistics hubs in the Black Sea cities, the creation of additional facilities in Europe, and we see that, in fact, NATO's military infrastructure It's constantly and gradually moving in the direction of our borders. This obliges us to analyze in depth the decisions taken and discussions that took place. This is a very serious threat to our country's national security. All of this will require us to take calculated, coordinated, and effective responses to deter NATO and to counter NATO. So Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said Moscow had anticipated the U.S.-German missile move, which he described as designed to intimidate Russia and further destabilize regional security and strategic relations. The necessary work and the preparation of countermeasures by the relevant Russian state agencies began much earlier and is being carried out on a systematic basis. Without nerves, without emotions, we will develop a military response, first of all, to this new game. Rybakov was quoted by the Interfax News Agency. Now, speaking of that, let's go down here over at the Don't Speak News Telegram account, and I got to go back up to show you what's happening. So after I just read you all that about Russia, Germany, and the U.S., look at what we have going on right now. The Russian Navy submarine right off the coast of Germany here. German Coast Guard vessel Bamberg is currently cruising and circling in that area to secure Russian or German territory. So they're looking for a Russian sub that's out there creeping on Germany right now. They're not messing around, not anymore. Just like it says here in Tagesspiegel, because of U.S. missiles in Germany, Kremlin threatens attacks on European capitals. Russian combat drone apparently strayed into Belarus, and defense ministers of Russia and the USA talk on the phone. So Russia says that Europe is a target for our missiles. Our country is a target for U.S. missiles in Europe. We have the capacity to keep these missiles in check, but the potential victims are the capitals of these European countries, he added. So they're not playing around, guys. And as you can see, a Russian sub, you can bet that's loaded with missiles, is sitting right off the coast now. So it's just a matter of when. Then we have this from Denmark. A Russian submarine has blocked a civil ferry between Bornholm and Germany. A German Navy warship shadows the Russian submarine after this incident. So take a look here to see what we can see. The first time I watched it too, guys. You're watching it for the first time right with me here. I don't know if that's it over there or what. Yeah, looks like it. Wow. It's like another view. It's getting real now, isn't it? You know, and the funny part about Alexa, I shouldn't say funny, but you know, the ironic thing is Alexa, the Amazon app, or the Amazon AI, I should say, was predicting that World War III would begin last November 2023 by Russia nuking Germany. Well, that may very well happen, just a lot later than what Alexa predicted, as we can see right there with that submarine off the coast. Then we have this. Poland's parliament was overwhelmingly in favor of a new law that allows soldiers, border guards, and police officers to fire live ammo when stopping attempts by migrants to storm the border. And of course, they've already been doing that with the Ukrainian troops trying to storm the border and escape from the war. They've just been shooting them dead. I'll show you that here in a minute too. And now we go back over to the main web pages I have pulled up here. France is also losing a lot of troops already inside of Ukraine. And they say that Paris has not seen such casualties since the war in Algeria. And the Russians are saying that the French death toll has crossed the psychological threshold for the French and their tolerance of it. Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service is declassifying a report by an agent who said in March France was preparing to send a group of 2,000 troops to fight in Ukraine. The update was published in the latest issue of SVR Scout magazine. In it, an agent using the pseudonym Felix claimed that the French military was concerned about the increased number of French people killed on the Ukrainian front, particularly after Russian forces destroyed a mercenary deployment center near Kharkov last January. That strike alone killed dozens of French citizens, Paris reportedly estimated, noting that since then, similar attacks have become the norm in the conflict in Ukraine. Well, if you play stupid games, you're going to get stupid prizes, like you're going to get shelled by the Russians. It's just common sense. You're in a war zone. Unreal. The French Ministry of Defense has acknowledged that it has not seen such casualties since the war in Algeria in the second half of the 20th century. And the SVR agent reported that the exact number of casualties and the idea that there are any French soldiers in Ukraine at all is being deliberately concealed by the French authorities. Of course it is. And they've been in there for quite some time, especially the French Foreign Legion, which is kind of a gray legal area anyway. But so they've been killing the French soldiers, guys, and don't think for a second they're all mercenaries. They're not. They're not. These are regular troops being sent in, and they use mercenary as a cover story. But these are regular French troops that are being killed, and some have even been taken prisoners. I've shown you a video of that too. And now we have this going on over in Lebanon from Hal Turner. There's a Revolutionary Guard commander from Iran right now inspecting the front lines in Lebanon, apparently. So this Quds Force commander-in-chief, Ismail Kahani, is currently in southern Lebanon on the front lines, meeting with Hezbollah's field commanders and inspecting the situation. The fact that this ultra-high-ranking Iranian military official is inside Lebanon, while Israel is bombing it, by the way, good point, and meeting with Hezbollah shows the severity of the response being planned against Israel if they invade Lebanon. Top brass in the military ranks don't generally travel into active war zones unless they want visual proof the plans are in place and ready to go. Yeah, the time is ticking for Israel. It's about to be Armageddon there too, as Greece, Bulgaria, and Romania are now creating a military corridor on NATO's eastern flank. So we go back over to NATO and Europe again. And they say a letter of intent was signed on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Washington, where a military corridor will be created to ensure more efficient mobility of military personnel and equipment, both within and outside Europe. The plan envisions the unification of 4 ports and their infrastructure connecting the cities of Varna, Constanta, Thessaloniki, and Alexandropolis. The military corridor is being established especially for a war between NATO and Russia. And in addition, the creation of the largest NATO base in Europe to be located in Romania is also being planned, as we talked about before. So everything is now sitting on go. And I don't think they're going to get these bases completed before it all just erupts, as we can see now. With this missile deployment in Germany, guys, this is a huge deal to Russia. They can't allow this to happen. And they definitely can't allow it in Poland either. That's even closer. They can't allow this. And they're, the U.S. is trying to disguise the one in Poland by saying it's just anti-aircraft and anti-ballistic missile stuff, when in fact they know that they can switch out to offensive weapons just like that. And Russia doesn't know it's in those tubes. So they have to take them out. It's a first strike weapon in that respect. So, wow. It's all sitting on go, guys. It's just a matter of when. All right. All right, don't forget don'tspeak.com, home base for everything that we do. Over 2,000 stories here now that we can't speak about anywhere else, like this scam with vitamin D and stuff here that I put over on Substack today. My first post is now up over on Substack, where we're going to talk about natural health issues, which I don't know how much we'll be able to talk about that anymore, but that's what I put over there. And today is more about the vitamin D test and the vitamin D scam itself. That's over on Substack. And the link is right here in this blog post on don'tspeaknews.com. Like I said, home base for everything that we do. If you'd like to find us everywhere else that we post, just click this YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble link right here. And all the links to find us around the web are right there. To support us, please click channel support. We need your support because we don't have any advertisers or sponsors per se, just you guys. And so we thank you very much for that support. You can do it one time, monthly, or yearly. It's completely up to you. And if you'd like to subscribe or contact me here, just click that tab. And then the subscription box is right here. Just type in your email and hit subscribe. Every time I put up a new post, you'll be notified. And then, of course, there's the 2 emails here at ProtonMail and at yahoo.com. And there you go. That is it for now. Stay ready, guys. Prayed up and prepped up at all times. God bless. Take care. Johnny Storm. Don't Speak News.